So the ceiling gets lower and the floor gets higher and the walls they get closer. As if we're being now led into the Holy of Holies, being prepared. Architecture is taking us in, step by step to be with the goddess in the deepest point of it. Before we rush into the deepest point, it would be good that we visit one of these side rooms. Why? Because we're going to learn something interesting. Ladies and gentlemen, it is so easy. Not so easy, but easy enough. That one say, oh, the cult of Hathor was stopped or started to die out by the 3rd century AD. By the 2nd, in the 1st and the 2nd century AD, there was a struggle. There was a struggle for the Christians, to survive. There was persecution. It was so hard. And then by the 3rd and the 4th century, it became so hard for the pagan to survive. Because now, those that they were persecuted became the persecutors. Are you with me? You see, it goes this way. When Christianity started, it was banned, it was a taboo, it was no. If you caught red-handed, then you would be punished for it. But once Christianity assumed power, then the Christian that they were persecuted yesterday, now they became the persecutor for the pagan cults. So they give very hard time for the priests of these temples and even the head, in order to wrap it up and to make it die quickly. So what I'm saying is, it's so easy for someone, like me to say, oh, in the year so-and-so, the cult of Hathor ceased and died out. Okay, good. But can I answer the question, when the cult of Hathor started? That's very difficult. Because these cults, most of them, they started in real archaic times, time beyond our imagination, usually in prehistoric times. I'm saying that to tell you that this temple have been rebuilt many times. I mean, when we talk about, we say this is 2,000 years old temple, fine. So what about, wasn't she worshipped before that? No, she was worshipped before that, in another temple. And that older temple was 900 years older than this temple. And even before that, there stood another temple, but all these temples, they stood in the very same spot. Here's the point. This is the sacred land. How do we know that? We know through this ditch here. Someone lifted, one of the tiles, and then we found out that the blocks of the temple that stood before this one, as they were intended to build a new one, it was dismantled and used as a foundation. So the foundation here are drums of pillars. From the size of these drums of pillar, we understand that the older temple was smaller. So actually they took it apart and then they put it under the ground to be a base and foundation for the new one. How many times this happened? Only God knows. Only God knows. Many, many times. And that would catapult us to a prehistoric times, to times that was not really recorded. So underneath, in a nutshell, underneath this floor, is the older temples for the same deity, and even underneath them, even more or older temple that stood for the same kind of color. Now we're going to get